Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about SpaCy and going to walk through a quick demo showcasing the specific things which SpaCy provides. So yeah, you can log into SpaCy's website and have and go through all the documentation of SpaCy. So what's the motivation behind this library and picking SpaCy as a topic? So if you Google and if you go through some websites which takes into account the most prominent and most useful and most famous tools for natural language processing, SpaCy usually comes as one top 10, top 8, top 7 tools. Furthermore, it's used in various articles related to NLP, and it's also used in various research papers. So I have some of them listed here. The top two are the links to the most prominent NLP tools. This is one article from Analytic Vidya, which talks about how SpaCy can be used in name entity recognition. And the last one is a paper where they talked about how to use SpaCy for word to vec transformations. Installation of SpaCy is fairly easy. If you're using an Anaconda environment, you can use conda command and install it via conda forge SpaCy. If you're using pip, you can just use pip install. First you install the setup tools and wheel, and then you can install SpaCy. Furthermore, you need to download the model of SpaCy, which is English Core Web Small. If you want a larger model, you can use a larger model. You can refer to the installation guide, yeah, for further information. Some of the features of SpaCy. So SpaCy is one of the most powerful in-box, out-of-box. SpaCy is one of the most important and most prominent libraries in NLP, which provides a lot of out-of-the-box functionality. One of which is linguistic features. All those features like name entity recognition, part of speech tagging, all of them are inbuilt present in SpaCy and are inbuilt tools and are ready to use tools. Secondly, SpaCy use something called rule-based matching. So instead of using regex, SpaCy uses a rule-based matching logic. Furthermore, it has various pipelines. Also, you can embed transformers, use your embeddings from various libraries like GenSim and Word, and it has various visualizers. Coming on to the linguistic features, so some of the linguistic features which particularly drew my interest were part of speech taggers, the name entity recognition, tokenization, vector, and similarity. You can also go through this web link to know more about the various linguistic features. So we would go through a demo uh, where I would showcase some of the code and some of the workings of SpaCy. So if you can see, we imported SpaCy, and here we are showcasing lemmatization, part of speech tagging, stop words, and other things. So if you can see, we are loading the small model, the English language small model. So SpaCy has various models available to you based on the language you use. So if you go on this website and if you click on usage, you can select various models from here. So there are various languages available. So for example, if you want to not use English and you want to just use French, you can download this French model. So this is based on various data sets of various languages. Moving forward to our model. So if you can see, there's a sentence, Prakhar Gupta is an RIT student graduating in 2023. If we run this code, you see that we are able to print the name, the text, the lemma of the text, the part of speech of the text, the tag of the POS tag, the the alpha value, and whether it's a stop word or not. So alpha is basically, is it a alphanumeric or not. So if you can see, all of them is listed, and you can see it does a pretty good job in identifying that Prakhar and Gupta are proper noun because it's a name, as well as identifying that RIT is a proper noun because it's also a name of an institute, and it also is able to segregate or tokenize the punctuation, the full stop after 2023. So one of the most intuitive thing about SpaCy is this graph, which you can plot by using SpaCy, and which can you can plot by using the visualizer, which is DisplayCy. So it you can see that how the language and how the words are intertwined and how every word is dependent on other words. So this helps you understand how languages work, what happens when we speak a particular sentence, and how a particular word can have an impact on the word that came much earlier than it. So if you can see, is is an attribute of student, so it helps a person who is new to natural language processing understand the intricacies of a language. Coming on to the name entity recognition, if you say I have the same sentence, so if you run this, you can see that it identifies Prakhar Gupta as a person and RIT as an organization. So I'm particularly impressed by this feature where it didn't segregate Prakhar and Gupta as two independent persons and kept it as a single entity. So if you again run the DisplayCy render, you can see that it can beautifully color and highlight the part of sentences which are name entities, like over it highlighted Prakhar Gupta and RIT. So we are going to go through an article as a live demo to showcase uh, how good SpaCy is when it comes to name entity recognition. So if you can see, I have Yahoo News open, and this is an article trending right now. So we can pick up any article from Yahoo News. Let's say we pick up this, and we pick up the first paragraph. We copy it and paste it over here. So it's, as you can see, it identified day one as date because one day, Russian as NORP, which stands for non-religious, religious or political entity. Crimea as a geopolitical entity. Similarly, Ukrainian as religious or political entity. Zaporizhia as a geopolitical entity, and at least 13 as cardinality. So again, it colored the whole sentence in a very beautiful way, which helps you to visualize in a better way what your sentence conveys and what all name entities are present in your sentence. I think this is one of the most intuitive thing which SpaCy does, and this is one of the most impressive thing about SpaCy so far. Tokenization. So how SpaCy works on tokenization is that you can use the SpaCy core model, which is being trained on the small data set of English. So if you run this sentence, this example is taken from the SpaCy website. Apple is looking to buy a UK startup for $1 billion, and if you run it, you see that indeed it's able to tokenize it. So you can see that it didn't separate U and K as separate tokens because UK is a country. And it was able to separate dollar and the amount of dollar as separate, so which is particularly impressive. So like word tokenizer, you can also use the sentence tokenizer. So again, this is an example from SpaCy website, and you can see that here it was able to segregate two different words and break two words into two different sentences. So SpaCy also have word embedding in vectors, and you can check the similarity of two sentences to words based on the inbuilt word to vec model which SpaCy has, or you can train your own model. So for this, we are using the large model. So we just download the large model. So I'm not going to run it because it's going to take a lot of time. So here we can see that we have two sentences. I like working out in the gym, and RIT has a great gymnasium. One thing which you notice over here is that none of the words in the first sentence gets repeated in the second sentence. And if we run this and wait a couple of seconds, we will say it has a high similarity score. Even though gym, there is no gym or in the other sentence, it is able to recognize that gym and gymnasium are very similar. So you get a fairly decent similarity score. So yeah, so moving on to the other features of NLP, is SpaCy. So it does a rule-based matching. So SpaCy has a rule-based matcher, and it's very different from the regular expression um, models which other NLP libraries use. So I would insist everyone to go through this link and learn more about it. So there are various matchers and rule based matchers in it. So if you can see, there is a token matcher, phrase matcher, dependency matcher, entity ruler, span ruler, and there are various models and rules which you can use to train your own models and define your own rules. So processing pipelines. So this is one of the most essential part of SpaCy. So if you see all these sentences, there is something common between all these sentences. All of these sentences have this keyword NLP. So what SpaCy does at the back end is create a whole pipeline called NLP. So when you pass a sentence to it, the text goes inside this whole pipeline and it processes it. So it breaks it into tokenizers, taggers, parsers, does NER, and this whole thing is converted into a doc. So this is how NLP processes all the sentences. So it runs this whole model on it, on your text, and extracts the essential features out of it. Also NLP, also SpaCy has multi-processing and multi-threading available to it, because it is basically developed to be an industry use library. And I think it is one of the most essential tool of NLP, because having a library that can be used for both for research, learning, and as an industry tool, that gives you an ability to use it in various paradigms and in various aspects of solving a business problem or a research problem. So embeddings, transformers, and transfer learning. So SpaCy supports number of transfer and multi-transfer learning workflows, and it can help it to improve the pipeline efficiency or accuracy. So you can actually build a transfer learning or a deep learning model from any of those languages or any of those frameworks, and use it with SpaCy's inbuilt rule-based engines, or built or your own rule-based engine. And yeah, you can use GenSim, which is a popular library in itself, fast text, or even transformer models, and load them into SpaCy and use SpaCy's functionality on top of them. So if you are interested, you can log into this website, and this web page will take you there. So visualizers, I think this is the most impressive part of SpaCy, which helps a person to visualize and learn. uh, when we are learning and when we are new to something, I think visual means is one of the fastest way to learn. So SpaCy has an inbuilt visualizer called DisplayCy, which we covered in the demo video as well. And for those who know about Streamlight, so Streamlight is one of the most popular data visualization toolkit, and it is used in array of machine learning, computer vision, and NLP tasks, both in business and sometimes in research as well. And SpaCy provides an inbuilt integration with Streamlight called Streamlight-SpaCy, which lets you integrate SpaCy visualization with Streamlight. So thank you everyone. This is the end.